Hey guys, Mamie Carson here with OneJoyousSkip.com. Thank you so much for joining us today on our blog hop, Pretty Things Survivors Do. I'm very excited to be a part of this blog hop, and I'm going to be using this stamp set from Simon Says Stamp called Winter Flowers. I'm going to be heat embossing these stamps all over a large sheet of Neenah Solar White cardstock using some Versamark, my embossing buddy bag, and some Ranger white embossing powder. So if you just watch along and see what I do here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the blog hop for the day. And so this blog hop is intended to spread awareness about post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's also in order to bring focus to the many amazing people living and creating a life for themselves despite their trauma. So I just want to honor those affected by PTSD because I know personally how brave you have to be to live with PTSD and how courageous they are for moving forward through life with undeniable strength. So today we are also mistranslating the acronym for post-traumatic stress disorder into Pretty Things Survivors Do to highlight the talents of survivors and celebrate their creativity today. So that is the intention for our blog hop today, and I hope that you will visit all of the other bloggers on the list and make sure to leave a comment and, share your story if you would like to, or just lend your support. So like I said, I'm taking all of these images and spreading the white embossing powder all over all of them. And this is a very easy project that anyone can really do. I wanted to keep it kind of simple so that if you wanted to recreate it, you would be able to with just a very few supplies. So with heat embossing, you're going to heat all of the lines that you embossed, and you're going to let those melt, and then you'll be ready to start inking them up. So there's parts of the video that are edited for time constraints, so I won't be showing you every single aspect of what I did, but I am leaving the important parts in the video. So I'm taking my finger dauber here. You can use pretty much any kind of tool that you have. A sponge would even work. And I'm dipping that into the abandoned coral, and then I'm starting in the middle of each flower and then working my way out. And I'm lightening my pressure on the way out as I'm doing the circular motion. And so that'll create a depth in the middle of the flower, and then the lightness will create like the highlights on the outside of the flower. And so I'm just doing the exact same thing all over all of the flowers that I have here, and just varying pressure. And I'm trying to make all of the flowers also look different because that'll give it an organic look as well. Now, if you feel like you want it to be darker, just do the exact same motion all over again. So start in the middle and add some more pressure, and then work your way out to the ends, releasing some of that pressure to create the highlights on the outside of the flower. And now I'm going to be doing the leaves, and I'm using cracked pistachio. So I'm doing something a little bit non-traditional with these colors. They are still red and green, but they are different shades of red and green than your usual like deep red and hunter green. I'm just using more of a tropical kind of look is what it ended up kind of looking like, but it's really pretty. I like the way it turned out. And I also did another card as well that I'll show you later on where I did use like a deep red and a brighter green. Or actually, I think I'm not sure what green I used. But anyway, they'll look different. You can see what they look like from traditional to this more fun tropical kind of color. And so for the leaves, I started at the ends, making them a little darker, and then kind of blended them out towards the end a little bit lighter. Same thing as with the flowers, just releasing some of that pressure. And then I did the little berries in this purple as well. And I'm taking my microfiber sheet and going over all of the images, and that will get the extra ink that laid on top of the white embossing and pull that off. And so that way you're left with a crisp image, and so we can start and move to the next part of the project. And so the next part of the project, I'm going to be cutting out all of these images, which I do not mind at all because it has the raised embossing, and so it's really easy just to bring your scissors along the side because you have this little area, this raised area that shows you exactly where you need to cut. So it didn't take me very long at all. I actually enjoy it. It's really peaceful to do. And so I'm going to cut out all of these images by hand, and we'll move on to the next part of the project. So here I have all of my pieces all cut out and ready to go, and I think they look so pretty. And it was super simple to do. So I'm taking a piece of Desert Storm, Neenah Desert Storm cardstock here. And I'm going to be making a top folding A2 size card. But first I'm going to take some of my antique linen distress ink and distress the edges a little bit of the card. Now on the other one I didn't do this, and on this one I decided to take it a step further and do a little bit of this distress inking on the sides. They were both really pretty. I'm not even really sure which one I liked the best. I just wanted to do something a little bit extra. So I'm just taking my sponge here and going around all the sides just to create a little bit more of a vintage look. And I think that came out pretty nice. And now I'm just going to lay out all of the flowers to kind of position them where I want them to be when the card is finished. And the best thing to do is to kind of lay them one at a time, let them hang off the edges, and this gives it a more organic look. I'm constantly saying organic. I don't really know another word for it. And the next part is to adhere the leaves underneath the flowers so that I can figure out like the placement where I'm going to have enough room for all of these leaves. And so I'm just kind of adjusting as I go so that I can fit the leaves but also take up a nice amount of space. And then finally, I'm adding all of the little berries, and I'm just kind of putting those here and there, some underneath the flowers even. And I'm not popping up any of these flowers. They're all going to lay flat. So now is the time to put the berries underneath or whatever you're wanting to put underneath. And now I'm going to adhere all the flowers directly to the cardstock. Make sure they're pressed down nicely. And then I'm going to pull that up and I'm going to cut away all of the excess after I finish sticking this last little flower here at the bottom. I'm using my Nouveau glue. I love this glue. It dries quickly and clear. So like I said, I'm now going to take my scissors and cut away all that excess around the outside edges, which kind of breaks my heart because they're so pretty. I hate cutting away the excess. And if you have some like little areas where you have a hole and you need to fill that with something, you can take these excess snips of flowers and leaves and you can just place those turned around facing inwards, and you can fill in any gaps that you have with that. But my card was already totally full, so I didn't have an area to put any more flowers. And so now it's time for me to do the sentiment, and I'm taking a little bit of glitter washi tape, this really thin glitter black washi tape. And the reason I'm using this black is to really just give a lot of contrast to the card because it is so colorful. I love using black in order to change up and give you a focal point. I've got a strip of white cardstock here and I'm going to heat emboss, but I'm going to use my VersaFine ONYX black ink. It's my favorite ink for stamping sentiments because it's really juicy and it gives a very crisp impression. However, it takes forever to dry. So I like to heat emboss it so that I'm able to work with it immediately. If not, you would need to wait like 15-20 minutes for it to dry and so you don't smudge it. And so I was smart this time and I went ahead and heat embossed that with some clear embossing powder, and I was able to start working with it immediately because I have a lot going on right now, so I can't be waiting around for it to dry. So same as we did before, we're just going to heat that up until it's all nice and melted and shiny. That's how you know it's ready, is when it turns shiny, but don't overheat it because you don't want to burn it. Look at that. That sentiment looks perfect. It's so good, so crisp. Now we're going to adhere it to our card, and I'm going to kind of overlap that bit of washi tape. The washi tape was just a little bit of a peep of color to break up the sentiment layering. So I'm just going to pop that into place. Cut off the excess. Now I'm going to take my white gel pen and I'm going to add little dots in varying sizes, and this is really going to take that card to the next level. I love adding white highlights. Just look what that did for the card. It just gives it more of a, in this case, it gives it a really Christmas look with all the little dots. It looks like it's snowfall. I'm also taking my Nouveau drops here and putting those in the middle of the flowers to add some sparkle, and then also putting them on top of all the berries to give them a little bit of frost and a little bit of sparkle. Now I'm going to take some of my Simon Says sequins here, and I'm going to place a few of those. And I was looking for a specific size, but it looks like I ran out of the medium size, which I guess is my favorite because I ran out apparently. And I'm also going to put some of those crystal drops, some of those Nouveau drops right on top of that sequins. And this card is looking so pretty. I'm super excited about the way it turned out. I really, really do love it. I love it against that Desert Storm cardstock. And then here is the other one I did that had more of that red color. I'm going to post some still shots at the very end of the video for you to kind of get a close-up view of what they both look like. So hang around for that. And please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I really, really appreciate it. Also, make sure to join everyone else on the blog hop. Leave your comments, send your love, and if you ever need anyone to talk to, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, let them know what's going on. This PTSD blog hop is so important to spread awareness, and I hope that you guys really lend yourself to your friends and family during the holiday season, and I hope you guys enjoy yourselves as well. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you soon.